The news came like a thunderbolt on a clear day. Walmart, the retail behemoth, announced it was ceasing all operations within the United States. This wasn't a gradual scale back or a series of store closures. This was a full stop. The sheer scale of this decision is almost impossible to comprehend, sending shockwaves through the business world and American daily life. Imagine waking up to a world where Walmart simply isn't there anymore. For millions of Americans, this is not just a change in where they buy their groceries or clothes. It's the disappearance of a local landmark and a major employer. The announcement, delivered in a terse press release, cited insurmountable economic headwinds and an unpredictable domestic policy environment. The silence from the company's Bentonville headquarters in the immediate aftermath was deafening, leaving a vacuum filled with speculation and rising panic. Walmart wasn't just a store, it was an institution. It shaped how Americans shop, where they work, and even how goods are manufactured and distributed globally. The idea that a company so deeply embedded could simply vanish from the US market is a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities within the most powerful entities. Financial news outlets scrambled for details, political commentators weighed in with conflicting analyses, and ordinary citizens took to social media to express their shock, anger, and confusion. The story of Walmart's American exit is not just a business story. It's a story about policy, global trade, and the changing nature of America itself. For generations, Walmart has been more than just a retailer. It became an undeniable fixture in American communities, large and small. From bustling urban centers to quiet rural towns, the familiar blue and yellow sign was a beacon of accessibility and affordability. Walmart stores were often the largest, if not the only, major shopping destination for miles around, providing everything from groceries and clothing to electronics and pharmacy services. The company's business model, pioneered by founder Sam Walton, revolutionized retail. By focusing on high volume, low margins, and a sophisticated supply chain, Walmart could offer prices that many competitors simply couldn't match. The stores became community hubs, places where people not only shopped, but also worked and socialized. Beyond the consumer aspect, Walmart was also one of the nation's largest private employers. The closure of these stores doesn't just mean shoppers need to find new places to buy goods. It means a massive number of people are suddenly facing unemployment. The cultural impact of Walmart is also worth noting. It became a symbol, for better or worse, of American consumerism and capitalism. To understand modern America, one had to understand Walmart's role within it. One of the primary culprits cited in Walmart's shocking decision to exit the US market is the issue of tariffs. For a company like Walmart, whose entire business model was built on sourcing a vast array of goods from overseas, tariffs act like a direct tax on its core operations. The Trump administration's reliance on tariffs as a tool for economic leverage significantly increased the cost of goods. This put the company in an impossible bind: either absorb these massive new costs or pass them on to consumers and betray its core promise of low prices. Walmart's sophisticated global supply chain, once its greatest strength, became a significant vulnerability in an era of trade wars. The uncertainty itself was a major problem, making long-term strategic planning nearly impossible for their US operations. Ultimately, the math simply stopped working for Walmart in the American market. The decision to leave can be seen as a direct consequence of a trade policy environment that fundamentally undermined the foundations upon which Walmart's American empire was built. The moment Walmart's announcement hit the newswires, a wave of disbelief and then outright panic swept across the nation. On main streets everywhere, particularly in smaller towns where Walmart was often the primary provider of groceries and general merchandise, residents were left reeling. Employees, numbering in the hundreds of thousands across the country, faced an even more terrifying reality: imminent job loss on an almost unimaginable scale. In Washington, the reaction was swift and predictably partisan. President Trump, whose administration has championed the use of tariffs, was reportedly furious, viewing Walmart's decision as an affront. Critics of the administration's trade policies immediately pointed to Walmart's exit as definitive proof of the destructive consequences of prolonged trade wars and economic nationalism. Consumer advocacy groups and labor unions also voiced immediate and grave concerns. The overarching sentiment was one of profound shock. The most immediate and devastating economic consequence of Walmart's U.S. departure is the colossal loss of jobs. We are talking about well over 1 million people, potentially closer to 1.5 million, who will find themselves out of work in a very short period. The scale of this mass layoff is unprecedented in modern retail history. Beyond the direct job losses, Walmart's exit is poised to unleash significant inflationary pressures. For decades, Walmart acted as a powerful deflationary force in the American economy. With Walmart suddenly removed from the equation, that downward pressure on prices vanishes. The disappearance of Walmart will also likely lead to the creation of vast retail deserts, particularly in rural areas and underserved urban neighborhoods. The infrastructure and investment Walmart represented in these communities cannot be easily or quickly replaced. The economic tremors from this single corporate decision will be felt far and wide, reshaping the American economic landscape. Walmart's unprecedented decision to abandon the U.S. market has sent a palpable chill through boardrooms across corporate America. If a giant like Walmart can be forced into such a drastic move, what does that mean for other businesses? The immediate reaction among other corporate leaders has been one of stunned silence, followed by urgent internal discussions about their own vulnerabilities. The role of tariffs and unpredictable trade policy in Walmart's demise is particularly alarming for other multinational corporations. Business leaders are now likely reevaluating their own supply chains, their exposure to geopolitical risks, and their contingency plans for abrupt policy shifts. The Walmart exit could trigger a broader reassessment of the viability of certain business models in the current protectionist-leaning environment. Corporate leaders will likely increase their lobbying efforts, seeking more predictability and stability in trade relations. The shockwaves from Walmart's decision will force a national conversation about America's place in the global economy. The departure of Walmart from the American retail landscape leaves an enormous void. In the immediate aftermath, consumers will scramble to find alternatives, and existing retailers will undoubtedly see a surge in demand. However, none of these competitors have the same ubiquitous presence or the sheer scale of Walmart. One potential outcome is an accelerated shift towards e-commerce. Online giants like Amazon are likely to capture a significant portion of Walmart's former market share. However, this doesn't fully address the need for fresh groceries in areas lacking robust delivery infrastructure. There might also be an opportunity for a resurgence of smaller local businesses. Rebuilding a diverse local retail ecosystem takes time, investment, and supportive economic conditions. Ultimately, Walmart's exit signals a profound transformation in American retail. The end of the Walmart era in the U.S. is not just the closing of stores, it's the end of a chapter in American economic history.